Wait until you see what I made with these Dollar Tree flag napkins. In today's video, I'm transforming simple patriotic napkins into stunning 4th of July decor, along with several other budget-friendly DIYs that are perfect for your home. You won't believe how easy and affordable these projects are, so let's get started. For the first project, I'll be using a tin flower pot from Dollar Tree. I'm going to paint the entire flower pot with white chalk paint, making sure to give it a nice even coat. I love using chalk paint for projects like this because it provides excellent coverage and helps create a smooth finish. Once the first coat is dry, I'll come back and apply a second coat for full coverage. I'll also be painting about 1.5 inches down the inside of the rim. This will ensure that none of the tin shows once a project is finished, giving it a more polished look. The paint on the tin flower pot has now dried and I'm ready for the next step. I'm going to take one of these patriotic napkins and cut it into squares, following the outline of each flag design. From one napkin, I was able to get 4 flags total. Next, I'll take one of the flag pieces and trim around the edges to clean it up. Then I'll apply a layer of Mod Podge to the tin flower pot and carefully place the flag napkin onto the surface. Once it's in place, I'll brush another coat of Mod Podge over the top to seal it. I'm going to let the flower pot dry completely before moving on to the next step. While I wait for the Mod Podge to dry on the flower pot, I'm going to move on to the other piece of this DIY. For this part, I'll be using a scrap wood board from Dollar Tree. Just like the flower pot, I'm going to paint it with white chalk paint. I'll apply one coat, let it dry completely, and then come back and give it a second coat for full coverage. I'm going to give my board some red strips. To do that, I'm going to use painter's tape. I'll place one strip of tape on one side and another strip on the opposite side. For some thinner strips, I'm going to cut a strip of tape down the center using my box cutter to create nice clean lines. Once I have all the tape in place, I'll go in with some red acrylic paint and use a sponge to apply the paint. Before the paint dries, I'll carefully remove the tape. This usually helps create crisp lines, but unfortunately, I didn't get the clean lines I was hoping for. So I went back in with a small paintbrush and touched up the red paint to create sharper, cleaner lines. I had this star from a patriotic wall decor that I purchased at Dollar Tree, so I removed the star to use for this project. I'm going to place it at the top of my board and attach it using a combination of super glue and hot glue. The super glue provides a strong hold, while the hot glue helps keep it in place while the super glue sets. I've had this outdoor faucet for quite a while, and it's actually what inspired this entire project. I'm going to place it underneath the star and attach it to the board. At first, I tried using epoxy, but that didn't hold as well as I wanted it to, so I switched to super glue, which worked much better and gave me a strong hold. So next, I'm going to place the board inside my tin planter, just like this. First, I'll add some hot glue to help hold everything in place. Then I'm going to use some contact cement. I've never used it before, so we'll see how well it works for this project. Once the adhesive is applied, I'll carefully slide the board into the planter and press it down firmly. I'll hold it in place for a few moments to make sure everything is secure and allow the glue to set properly. So Dollar Tree has a lot of patriotic decor out right now, and they have these decorative sparkler table decorations. When I saw them, I thought they would be perfect for this project. Let me show you what I decided to do with them. I cut several small pieces from the blue decorative sparklers and hot glued them to the spout of the water faucet. My goal was to make it look like water was flowing out of the faucet. I think it added a fun and unique touch to the project. Let me know what you think. And with water in place, we needed some flowers to complete the look. First, I added floral foam to the tin and secured it with hot glue. Then I took these beautiful patriotic flower bouquets I found at Dollar Tree to match the theme. I trimmed the stems down to size and simply inserted them into the floral foam to create a full balance arrangement. Well, what do you think? Is this a yes or a no for you? For this next project, I'm going to use a Dollar Tree picture frame that I had left over from a previous project. I've removed everything from the back and secured the glass to the frame using super glue. Now I'm going to use a Patriotic napkin for the design. This time I'm not cutting it, I'm using the full napkin and placing it on the back side of the glass with the print facing forward. To do this, I'll apply Mod Podge to the back of the glass, carefully lay the napkin over it, and then brush another layer of Mod Podge on top. I'll let it dry completely before coming back to finish it. I'm also going to trim off the excess paper. This is how my project is turning out so far. I tried using a sanding block to remove the excess paper, but it wasn't coming off easily. So I carefully used scissors to trim as close as I could. Then I went back in with the sanding block and smoothed out the edges to give it a smooth finished look. Next, I'll be using black puffy paint. My plan is to outline the flag and stars to create a stained glass effect. I'm going to carefully trace all the details I can, then let the paint dry completely. Some of the stars were too small to outline with puffy paint, so I switched to a black acrylic paint pen instead. This made it much easier to add clean, detailed lines while still keeping the stained glass effect I was going for. I'll be using Admiral Blue acrylic paint from Apple Barrel for this step. I'm going to do a dry brush technique around the frame to add a soft, distressed touch of color. At this point, I'm honestly wondering if I should have just left the frame plain instead. Let me know what you think. I'll be using this piece of board to create a stand for my frame since I removed the original backing stand. I think using wood actually works even better for stability. So I'm going to hot glue it along the back side of the frame. I also picked up these LED votive candles from Dollar Tree. They come in a set of 2. They're really pretty. I'm going to place them behind the frame to give it a soft glowing glow. Well, let me know, did I achieve the stained glass effect? Please let me know. Is this a yes or a no for you? For this project, I'm going to be using a Dollar Tree placemat and a wire wreath form, also from Dollar Tree. My goal is to cover the wire wreath with a placemat. So I'll be hot gluing the mat directly onto the wire. I'll start with the outer edge first, then work my way around to the inner wire until the entire placemat is fully secured to the wreath form. Just a heads up, this part does take a little time. The hot glue needs a moment to really adhere, so I had to hold the placemat in place a bit longer than usual while working around the wire. The glue has finally hardened and this is how it's looking so far. I'm going to cut out the center of the mat, carefully using scissors to cut around the inner wire. This will leave just the covered wreath base with the placemat attached. Next, I'll be using Patriotic napkins again. I'm going to cut the napkins into sections, which will give me 4 flag pieces in total. Then I'll pinch the center of each square, hot glue it in place, and attach it to the wreath. I'll work in sections, cutting a few pieces at a time and adding them as I go, until all of the wreath is covered with napkin pieces. I decided to add this sign that I already had before continuing with the rest of my napkin pieces. I wanted to see how it looked in the center before finishing the wreath, so I placed it in position and used hot glue to attach it securely to the center. Then I continued adding the napkin pieces until the entire wreath was fully covered. I worked my way around sections by section until I achieved a complete finished look. Just a heads up, this is not an outside wreath, this is an inside wreath. Well, let me know, is this a yes or a no for you? For this next project, we're going to use a Dollar Tree bamboo cutting board. This is going to be an easy but beautiful patriotic DIY. I'm going to be using this wooden box from Dollar Tree to help create the square I need for this project. since I'll be painting a flag design onto the cutting board. Using the box as a guide, I'll be able to form the square section. First, I'll paint one portion of the board with white chalk paint, making sure to cover all the edges. Then I'll fill in the square area with blue acrylic paint to create the flag's top corner detail. Now for the next step, I'm ready to add the red stripes. I'll be using a ruler to create nice straight lines across the cutting board. Once I have all my lines marked out, I'll go in with some red paint and carefully fill them in. I'll take my time with this step to keep the stripes as neat and even as possible. I'm gonna let this first coat dry completely and then go back and apply a second coat of paint. I have these star stickers that I'll be using for this project. I'll be using the white ones for the flag. Since I didn't have enough white stars, I customized some of the other stars by painting them white. I simply used some white paint and a sponge brush to cover them, and now I have plenty of stars to complete my design. Now all that's left to do is to create a hanger for my flag. I'll be using this beaded decor from Dollar Tree along with some extra wooden beads that I already had in my craft stash. I'll also be using some twine to string everything together. For the bead pattern, I'll be alternating colors to match the patriotic theme. I'll start with a red bead, followed by a natural wood bead, then a white bead, another wood bead, and then a blue bead. I'll continue repeating this pattern until the hanger is the length I want. Once all the beads are strung onto the twine, I'll attach the ends to the back of the flag using hot glue. To make the hanger extra secure, I'll place a piece of tape over the glued ends to reinforce them and help keep everything in place. Well, I'd like to hear from you. Is this a yes or a no for you? For this project, I'll be using this clay flower pot from Dollar Tree. To get started, I'm going to paint the bottom portion of the pot with some red acrylic paint. I'll apply one coat, let it dry completely, and then go back and add a second coat for better coverage. Once the red paint has dried, I'll paint the top portion of the pot with blue acrylic paint. Just like before, I'll apply one coat, allow it to dry, and then add a second coat. After all the paint has dried completely, I'll finish off the design by adding white stars around the blue section of the pot, giving it a fun, patriotic look. And now for the final step, I'm going to place a piece of floral foam inside my pot. Once that's in place, I'll add some of the patriotic flowers that I picked up from Dollar Tree. I'll arrange them until I'm happy with the look, creating a festive red, white, and blue floral display that's perfect for the 4th of July season. Well, let me know, is this a yes or a no for you? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Thank you so much for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed today's video and found some inspiration for your own patriotic decorating. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with your friends and family. I truly appreciate your support. Have yourself a blessed day, and I will see you on my next video. So bye-bye, and God bless.